Well, one of the first things I want to talk to you about is I
hmm
noticed a lot of fans online and people that I talk to considered your character like the heart of the show. How do you respond to that?
Um, Thank you all for engaging and investing in the show and in the character. Um, it's really through their connection and their engaging in the story that makes Tian-Chen more alive, that makes Tian-Chen's journey more interesting.
I think you know as well as I do that the fans have been going bananas with their theories and what they think's going on. Have there been any that you've seen or heard that you're like, okay, that's interesting, or that's just way, way out there? Because I've heard aliens, I've heard an AI simulation, I've heard so many things.
First of all, Tian-Chen, I don't believe she wants leave. It's really in my heart that that's not what her goal is. But it's interesting to see how many people, because of the show is about, every other character is about leaving
Hmm.
except Victor.
Hmm.
Um, but because of her personal connection, I don't think she really believes in going and leaving her husband behind
Hmm.
in the farmland. But it's interesting. What I find interesting and positive is there's been talk that death is not it's their way out.
Hmm.
So in a way, when they die, they go, it's almost like Abby's theory. When they die, they go back to their real life.
Right, right.
And so that's sort of there's a glimpse of hope in sort of what we normally see as negative.
Hmm.
So I find that very positive and engaging and just gives me a sense of where people are at.
Yeah. One of the more interesting relationships in this show, the one I was hoping we got to see a lot more of, is between your character and Jade. And I love the work you two did together or do together on this show. Can you talk a little bit about that relationship and working with that actor?
With working with David, it's been really fun, and he's such a great actor.
Hmm.
And he just kind of transformed in front of me. And so it's really nice to be connected in the real life and also in our world of from. And I think Ten Chen already saw that he's behind all that coverage,
Hmm.
all that arrogance and annoying and negative behaviors. And I think Ten Chen already see that there's a heart, you know, behind all that
Hmm.
stuff. And so I think once he opened up, the writing is it's awesome. Once he opened up about his grandmother and about what his experience, that was that was the transforming part. And I think, oh, I can't, oh, I've been studying my, all my episode, but there's a scene in, I think it's in the episode, I mean in season one where I got mad at him
Yes.
and because he was complaining and all he does was complain and
Yep.
I was really, you know, I was really tired of him rambling and complaints. And I think it was, around that time that I found the comedic component of our relationship. He actually listen, he will listen, but you just have to give him a really clear boundary
Right.
and he can't cross it.
Right.
And then once you draw that boundary, then he's fine.
Yeah.
He's always been fine with Tian-Chen.
I think he's a little afraid of her, if you ask me.
I think so too. There's a little bit of, but there's also, it's almost like he's afraid, but there's deep connection, there's deep um, love, as a grandmother or as a mother, that there's that part too. There's that mixture of the love and the respect and I see him as being rebellious in terms of, I want to see how far I can get over that line,
Mhm.
and that testing type of attitude that you find in children.
You mentioned that scene. I think that's one of my favorite scenes in the series so far. And one of the questions I was going to ask you is, do you have any other favorite scenes? I mean, I think all the stuff that your character did with Ethan, I really enjoyed. Your work with that young actor, it's just fantastic stuff.
Hmm. You mean the favorite scenes that I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
in all the season or
yeah.
or
All the seasons so far. I know you mentioned one with Jade. That was a great scene. That was a great scene.
yeah. Actually, I like a lot of my scenes. Um, but what would stand out, after in reflection is really in season two when Ten-Chan has to face Sarah.
Oh yeah.
So, boy, I mean the one with boy, um, I didn't have. I don't think I said anything. It was a lot of it is it's internal.
Hmm.
And I find that really, it's actually a hard scene for me, because I always find that with not too many dialogues, it's hard for me to express. How do I, how do I express that emotion without words,
Right.
with just
Your face and
with my face
body
and with
movements and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, with just the internal, what because to play the character, I think I have to believe it in myself. Otherwise, if I don't believe it in myself, in that moment, in that character, how am I going to be able to portray so that other people can feel it?
Yeah.
So those are very difficult scenes. And the one with Sarah, it was just there's so many emotions in that scene where I faced her, with a lot of anger, frustration, but yet there's still that underlying love and care for her as a person. So those I think those were scenes that I felt I I developed as a character, as an actor, in terms of how do I access to those emotions and how
Right.
where do they live in me? Yeah, so I think those were my top three.
A show like From is one of those shows. I call it a big picture show. You're not going to get all the answers you want right away. I call it the Law and Order effect. And I love Law and Order, don't get me wrong, but normally a Law and Order episode, you get the finale, you get the finish of the episode at the end of every episode. You know what the finale is. This show,
Right.
you have to pay attention. You have to be along for the ride. You're going to get nuggets here and there. What do you say to fans who I don't want to say complain, but or upset that they don't get the answers that they want right away?
Hmm. I've been thinking about that because, obviously sometimes I do see some of the Facebook comments or Instagram comments. So I do wonder where people are from when they want to have the answers immediately.
Hmm.
Like what you talked about, the procedurals, it's episode by episode. You get the answer right away after that episode. You don't have that lingering, simmering effect. But I think that, with our shows, the beauty is in the journey.
Absolutely.
So if you want answer right away, then I think we're watching it with a closed mind, and that because if the answer is not to our liking, is not what I want, then then it's a negative shows.
Yeah.
So we're not open to what the series is it's offering. And the series that offer like such as our show is it's really offering the journey. Come ride with us and see what happens. And I think for me, even when I play my character, it's I'm hoping that what I portray can be connected to people at their different journey,
Hmm.
or where they are at, so that it's not like I wouldn't expect people to be at a certain level or at a certain circumstances in order to be connected with me. And I'm hoping that the people can actually relate to my character wherever the journey is. And I think that's the beauty of the shows.
Hmm.
And in order to truly appreciate shows like this, we have to keep open-minded and to see where the journey is.
Yes, absolutely. Now to the sad part. When it comes to the beginning of season three and pre-production, when did you find out what the fate of your character was going to be? Did the producers sit down with you and have a conversation? How did that work out?
Actually, it was during the strike. Um, the writer's strike was settled already by that time, and but the SAG was still striking.
Hmm.
So I found out on Halloween in 2023.
Yikes.
And they are very professional. I call them the three J's. Uh, John, the writer, Jack Bender, the director, and Jeff, the showrunner. They call me because we weren't, together. We weren't filming at that time. Everyone was still on strike, but they wanted to give me as much notice as they could, knowing that once the strike is over, that we would be filming pretty quickly.
Hmm.
So they were trying to give me as much time as possible. So I really appreciate them because they're very loving, they're very encouraging, but it's still sad,
Yeah.
it took me at least 3 weeks to get over the news,
Hmm.
and it was over the 3 weeks that I was, reflecting, and also, asking myself, what is it that I want? And what does this mean for me as an actor? because I'm so new. This is my first show, and so what does that mean for my future? So once I accepted it, it was really it was liberating. I
Hmm.
see, um, I welcome the unknown, and also I learned so much from this show, and it's not gonna be taken away from me, you know,
Right,
the experience
right.
and what I've learned and what I gained from this show, and also the friendship that I made with, you know, a lot of the cast and with the crew. So yeah, no, it's I treasure that experience, and yeah, and I took it as a challenge.
I've always wanted to ask, how do actors prepare themselves for when they step on set that day, knowing that their character is no longer going to be there after they're filming on that day? How do you emotionally prepare for something like that? Because obviously everyone knows when you come on set. So is it a lot of sadness? It's, hey, we got to get through this, and then we'll deal with the sadness afterwards. So how does that work for you, or you particularly?
Um, it was it was a lot of sadness, of course, you know, but um, and also at that time when we were filming those scenes, it was in wintertime in Halifax,
Hmm.
and so we did a lot of night shoot. So it's almost like I gotta get on with it because, you know, all these people, they can't go home until we're done, right? So that there's this urgency. And also because of the pressure that's added to all the layers that I'm going through already. And that actually gave me the drive and the push to do what I have to do. Yeah. And also, you know, not just for prepping myself for a death scene, but normally whenever I'm on set, I usually listen to my classical. It doesn't matter where, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a happy scene or, you know, a sad scene or whatever. I usually go to my classical music
Hmm.
and let the music run through me and let the music take me to wherever it is. You know, I mean, sometimes it could be sadness, sometimes it could be happiness or, you know, joy or whatever it is. I just let the music take me and let the music run through my vein actually. And that's how I prep myself. And so, you know, obviously for the final scene, I did a lot of that internal work.
Yeah, your character's death scene was a rather brutal one. Um, And it's interesting when the trailer first came out for the show, and you would hear the person screaming in the background, and the camera was tight on Boyd's face. Many people thought it was Sarah. I don't
Hmm.
think anyone even mentioned that it was you, but many people thought it was Sarah. And I thought Boyd's reaction or Harold's reaction to what's happening to your character in the scene was just brilliant. I mean, how do you? The scene is brutal. Let's just say that the scene is brutal.
Hmm. You know, working with Harold opens my eye in terms of what a great actor, what a he's so invested, he's so into his character,
Yeah.
and he gives it 130% all the time, and he's always prepared. And in fact, not just Harold, you know, I get to work with David and Victor, you know, on those last few scenes. And, you know, I'm very fortunate to be working with so many great actors, good actors, and they're so invested in their craft and um, in their work that I see I see it, I really do learn that um, it's a different cup of tea for different individual.
Hmm.
We all approach it differently, and it's okay. And just, depending on where we are. And but having those experienced actors before me and giving me that example, that those are the examples that I want to learn and I want to grow into. I hope that answered your
Oh yeah,
question.
absolutely, absolutely. We also find out what your character's last few words were when she said to Boyd. Um, and you have to feel for Kenny because not only has he lost his father, but now he's lost his mother. I mean, is this going to push him over the edge? I mean, how is he going to react when he finds out what's going on? And you have to just feel sorry for him and that character.
Oh, I think, playing that scene, thinking about Kenny was was one of the reason why I can be in that situation or in that position because like you said, he lost his dad already. He's on his own and he's so close to his mom. And so I just hope that Tin Chan have set a good example for him
Absolutely.
so that when he's not with them anymore, that he can draw from the memories and the examples that Tin Chan had set for him so that he can move on and he can grow as and develop into a person that Tin Chan believes he can be.
I know this might sound like a silly question, but now
Hmm.
that Tian-Chen is gone, who's gonna run the diner? I mean, that was her thing. Is it gonna be Sarah? I mean, who's gonna with Ethan helping? I mean, how is that gonna work now?
Oh, I wonder, but if it's Sarah, it makes sense
Hmm.
because she did learn from Tin Chan. But I'm not too sure. I don't think, Tin Chan's really worried about who takes care of who
Yeah,
takes care of the diner anymore. But I do, I mean, I do hope that um, somehow the town and the people in from Phil will accept Sarah and that she can redeem herself and to become, to show people that, she's not, there's still some goodness in her.
do you? I know this wasn't on the list, but do you think Tian-Chen has forgiven Sarah before this situation? Was she forgiving, able to forgive Sarah before what happened to her in the first couple episodes of season three?
Mm, I think I think definitely, in her death scene, in her in Ten Chan's death scene, there are flashes of people across my mind when I was playing that, and there are flashes of, like Sarah with Ten Chan, the time they spent together. So I think Ten Chan still loves her, and Ten Chan still sees her as as a daughter, as a very close one. But it
Mhm.
just, when she's alive, it's just too hard to
Right.
be in person with her. But yeah, no, definitely. I don't know if it's forgiveness or just acceptance, but definitely, scenes with Sarah came across my mind when I was dying.
I know this might be an obvious question, but what are you going to miss most about being on this show?
Definitely Halifax and spending time with the cast, just hanging out with them, doing nothing, and those are the times that I'm gonna miss. But knowing that, friendship that I made will last for years and or even lifetime. So that those are the, relationships are the ones that I treasure.
From day one, and I remember, reading people's comments when we were all live tweet the episodes. The fans have loved this character. What would you like to say to the fans who have supported this character from day one and supported this show?
Um, Thank you from the bottom of my heart for the support and the love because I'm not the actor that I am without the viewers journeying with her. So just think about, I think in one of the episodes, I can't remember which one, Jay talked about the butterfly effect.
Yes, yeah.
So there is a butterfly effect with the viewer, believe it or not. I know we're not in, we don't connect in person, but their love and support and the messages on, some of the comments and stuff, um, you know, have their ripple effect um, to me as an actor and also to Tin Chen. So
For
thank you.
me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And thank you. So
And for me as a viewer, I was shocked to find out that this was your first like real acting job on this show. So for me, I want to say thank you for your incredible work on this show, and I hope we get to see more of you in the future.